Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to be doing what I call an architectural autopsy, basically looking under the hood of those highly rigid digital administrative systems. We're going to look strictly at the underlying structures, the implicit assumptions we naturally make as users, and the really non-obvious details that can completely derail an administrative filing. We're going way beyond the basic user manuals today to deeply analyze how these digital environments are engineered, and more importantly, how severely they penalize user errors.
Let's start with a critical cause and effect relationship that perfectly captures just how rigid this all is. Think about this. If you select the wrong user identity right before you even log into a digital portal, will the system actually block you from your own data? You think, oh, it's just a simple technical glitch, no big deal, right? Well, expert analysis of these digital architectures shows us that this one seemingly tiny choice can literally trigger a permanent access block. Your initial account selection isn't just a casual label, it is the absolute foundation of your digital rights within that entire system.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 6 key areas. First, digital gateway and role selection. Second, irreversible blocks in shared access. Then, the permanence of system data. Fourth, misrepresentation versus fraud mechanisms. Fifth, navigating submission windows strategically. And finally, evidence integrity and final review. Let's jump right in.
All right, Section 1, digital gateway and role selection. This is where a lot of those fatal errors actually start. You'll notice the system rigidly forces you into one of 3 very specific identities: an individual, a legal representative, or an organization. Now, a lot of us just implicitly assume these roles are kind of flexible, like, oh, I can just share my login or shift data around later. Honestly, that assumption is completely false. An individual account, that is strictly for your personal data entry. You absolutely cannot use it as a proxy for somebody else. A legal representative can initiate drafts and send them over for client review. And an organization administrator, they set up the whole group collaboration. If you pick the wrong one out of the gate, this architecture simply does not forgive you.
Moving on to Section 2, irreversible blocks in shared access. This is where we see how those roles actually build invisible, completely irreversible walls when multiple parties try to collaborate. This is a perfect illustration of that access block mechanism in action. Look at this sequence. If a legal representative initiates the draft filing, the system works great. It lets the company seamlessly review, edit, and approve it. It's very collaborative. But if you reverse that exact same sequence, say an organization administrator starts that very same draft, bam, the legal representative is completely locked out. The lawyer cannot access, edit, or even view that draft. The mere sequence of who starts the digital paperwork literally dictates the entire security protocol for your submission. This leads us to a concept experts call system fragmentation. The really crucial takeaway here is that you cannot just magically merge data across these digital boundaries. Let's say a company admin accidentally starts a draft when the legal counsel was actually supposed to. Well, that data is now permanently fragmented. There is no convenient merge accounts button anywhere in sight. The system's only architectural solution, you have to completely abandon that draft and just restart the whole process from scratch in the correct portal. Okay, Section 3, the permanence of system data. Let's look at how all this rigidity creates a massive, lasting problem. So there's been a massive shift recently in the administrative rules about data retention. For decades, the old rule basically functioned like an escape hatch. If you submitted an application and then, realized there was a fatal error or something looked a bit suspicious, you could just withdraw. Boom, essentially erase the problem, you got a clean slate. Well, a new president has completely welded that hatch shut. Today, withdrawing your submission doesn't erase anything. If the adjudicating agency spots false data, they can make a formal finding of misrepresentation, and that finding gets permanently attached to your digital record. It literally follows you into every single future benefit request you ever make. Which brings us to Section 4, misrepresentation versus fraud mechanisms. Since we know these findings are permanent, we really need to understand exactly how the adjudicating agency classifies your data as false. There is an absolutely vital legal distinction between these escalating steps.
Step 1 is just inconsistent evidence. That simply triggers automated system red flags. Step 2 is willful misrepresentation. This just means you submitted data knowing it was false and it was relevant to your case. Now, step 3 is actual fraud, and that's a much higher bar because it requires proven intent to deceive. But here is the major actionable insight. You really don't have to commit outright fraud to get permanently banned. That significantly lower standard of willful misrepresentation, that is entirely sufficient to trigger severe, irreversible consequences in the system. And because that bar for a permanent ban is so astonishingly low, we've got to look at the implicit, non-obvious traps that users fall into all the time. We're not talking about grand criminal schemes here. We're talking about really common exaggerations. Things like bumping up professional metrics by a few numbers, claiming you were the lead on a project when the actual historical records clearly show you were just a contributor, or submitting recommendation letters that have been, steered so far from reality that they don't even reflect the author's true opinion anymore. Even overstating your industry impact or mapping out future endeavors you have literally zero ability to execute. Listen, there is a sharp, highly analytical line between framing your credentials well and fabricating them. And a fabrication, even a minor one, is a permanent digital stain.
All right, Section 5, Navigating Submission Windows Strategically. With these severe penalties in play, how do we strategically navigate the portal so we actually have the time to get things perfect?
Well, these digital portals have a very strict, completely automated mechanism that continuously monitors your draft activity. If you don't interact with or edit your draft for exactly 30 days, the system's architecture just automatically deletes it. Everything, all your uploaded evidence, all your typed data, it's just gone. You are forced to initiate a complete restart. So you absolutely have to build this 30-day countdown right into your initial preparation strategy.
And this brings up another hidden architectural limitation you absolutely need to be aware of. A lot of these digital portals give you a built-in duplicate checker tool right before you submit. And users naturally assume, great, this is my safety net, it'll catch any repetitive errors. It absolutely will not. Those built-in duplicate checkers only scan against data that has already been fully submitted to the agency. They do not scan within your current active drafts, and they definitely don't scan between multiple drafts you might have open at the same time. So the entire burden of avoiding a catastrophic duplicate submission, that sits squarely on your shoulders. You simply cannot rely on the software to save you from yourself. Which leads us to Section 6, Evidence, Integrity, and Final Review. This is our final operational mechanism to ensure total integrity before you cross that ultimate point of no return. The crucial concept here is internal consistency. You have to assume the adjudicating agency is going to rigorously cross-reference your digital data against itself. Every single claim you make has to be true, it has to be provable, and it must be flawlessly aligned across every single document. If a recommendation letter claims you led a massive initiative, but the historical resume you uploaded shows a mid-level title with absolutely zero leadership duties, the system immediately flags that inconsistency. That triggers enhanced scrutiny. And as we've just learned, enhanced scrutiny can very quickly snowball into a devastating finding of willful misrepresentation.
I really want to highlight this quote from an expert report we analyzed for this explainer. They wrote, "Relying on adjudicators making mistakes is not a strategy. A permanent bar from the system follows you into every future case." I mean, that hits the nail right on the head. We've seen today that those old escape hatches are permanently closed. The digital architecture is rigid, the user roles are completely inflexible, and a finding of misrepresentation is a permanent stain. You and you alone are entirely accountable for the data you push through that gateway.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. We've mapped out the incredibly rigid architecture of these digital portals today. We've seen exactly how the wrong login role can lock you out completely and how a seemingly minor exaggeration can ban you for life. So, if a single unchecked exaggeration can permanently lock you out of a digital system and totally bar you from future administrative benefits, how are you going to audit your next digital submission? Seriously, think about that before you ever click submit again. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. and I'll catch you in the next one.